Elio guys, and welcome back once again. Now I know this account name, especially from the last video, seems kind of familiar, and it is because this is Vorz's alt account, which he told me to take a more serious look at, or in just more of the traditional account review. So we're gonna go ahead and see what his account has to offer, and I'll give him some advice on this account because maybe this is going to become his main account in the future, or maybe he just wants to know what he can work towards in the future if he decides to commit more to the game. As always, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Make sure you like the video if you indeed like it, and let's go ahead and let's give it a go. Alright, so starting off here though, I do want to bring up one little point here. Obviously there's like what, 12 days at the time of this video until the Pip Capture Festival is over. And I mean, obviously things have kind of changed with 433, the publisher no longer being in charge of MSL or running MSL, so to speak. It's back at Smart Study. But I would say already, dude, like I feel like the capture rate, not capture rate, but encounters for Pip has been quite a bit slow. And I'm talking not from this account because this isn't my account, but my Casualty account. So I do definitely implore you guys out there, if you haven't already, try and go for Dark Pip at least. I do have a Pip review up on the channel, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the whole Pip situation. But let's go over here to your mod box real quick. I just want to quickly see what you have, and then we'll go over to golems. At level 30 something though, PvP shouldn't really be a big focus, but we'll see what you have over here. So element wise, we'll start from the bottom, which is the darks, and then we'll go up from there. But alright, what we have here, we have Dark Arthur, Dark Nightmare, okay, Dark Wildfang as well. Obviously you get Dark Mona, especially if you're a newer player, and she's purely decked out. But Dark Wildfang already, really good nuker, one of the best nukers in the game. Dark Wildfang with the seal, that's pretty nice. I mean, three turn seal for 90% and morale boost, definitely nice. He's here, he just exists. What else do we have to work with though? Light Victoria, she's just there hanging out. Light Loki, not the world's worst, but you can work with him. Light Hana, okay. Keep in mind this account is what, level 34. There's also Light Mona, who especially with the recent buff is definitely a lot more meta than what she was before. And of course Light Arthur. So honestly, I mean, with Wildfang you have Nightmare paired with maybe like Light Hana, because she does have seal, and you can use a Light Hana lead with discernment. That's already pretty potent as it is, and then get another hopefully decent mon in there and you could be working on something right there. Who else do we have here? There's a Garuda, you have 2 Acers, 3 Wood Merlins, and a Wood Garuda, and also a Wood Scheherazade. So you already have a decent roster of what it comes to in terms of Titan mons, other than of course you can pick up what, another mini cat and stuff of that nature. But that's already pretty good, because basically 2 of your lines, if you pick up that Zubaji that you get from the Heroes Dungeon, which obviously isn't optimal, but until you get another Wood Merlin, you could use her. You already have pretty much a dedicated right side of Courageous Strikers. And another light, not Light Garuda, but actually you have 2 Wood Garudas, so both of your left lanes are covered too. Like, that's pretty nice, dude. And what else do we have here? Water Barona, she works. There's also a Wet Scheherazade, 2 Water Indras as well. Not so much in terms of Water Ashramons, but you do have it at least in terms of your wood ones. And then the fire guys over here, who else? There's a Leo, there's a Valk, there's also a Artemis. So I mean, these 2 are pretty solid in my opinion. Of course you can't go wrong with Fire Vic either. The rest, not so much. I mean, you could build Leo for damage, you could also build Wildfang for damage as well, but you do have a dark one, so it's really up to you. But at level 34, you definitely do have a good array of mons that could be potentially very useful for you, and there's none over here in storage either. So I mean, this video is going to be pretty short, but his account is definitely promising, especially if you want to get into Titans. And I mean, you could start off decently in the PvP field. Let's see what his defense is. It's Water Mona, Dark Nightmare, not Dark Valk, but Fire Valk, Fire Artemis, and then Fire Mona. So what you could do here, though, obviously this is your defense your attack team, not your defense team, but this is your actual defense team. Once again, I do kind of like to mix in elements, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But obviously at level 34 you can't expect the cream of the crop here. But I think having Fire Valk there paired with your Nightmare is going to be super duper great. Who else did we see over here? I know their levels are kind of all messed up because they're not fully, you know, they're not level 60 Evo 3. But who else was it that was a dark type? Stark Wild Fang. Maybe it's just your Nightmare that was useful to my eyes. There's also Loki that you could use over here, and then we could go ahead and top that off here with what else do we have? I mean, at this point you could throw in, just for the memes, either Fire Artemis, or you could put in where's she at? Who is it, dude? Why am I over here like struggling right now? There's also lovely Water Scheherazade. So you could keep Valk in here if you want. If not, you could put in Fire Artemis. But what does she have? Stun and Fearless Taunt. And she has to build up her stun. So you could do something similar to this nature, where you just have a mixture of types for your PvP defense team versus having one type. Obviously, getting Loki built up and Scheherazade and stuff of that nature to Evo 2 and Evo 3 in the future is something to think about. But at this point in time, it's better for you to have a mix of different elements versus just having one, because Light Loki at least could hopefully take some aggro away from any Dark Mons that may be trying to attack your squad and nuke them. Then Scheherazade obviously has the, morale boost in immunity to hopefully prevent your other mons from getting any status ailments on them. Artemis is there to be annoying and also stun people. And then with Nightmare, hopefully the goal is for Light Loki to kind of take away any aggro from your Dark Nightmare, so that way she can get that seal off. Because with that 50% morale boost, there is, you know, there's a chance that she can get that off fairly quickly here. But is it just herself? It's just herself, isn't it? Because it's 50%. Yeah. So you could do something like that. Obviously, if you had a Fire Victoria, you could also throw her in there as well if you can get her to Evo 3 until you get Artemis or Fire Valk to Evo 3. But I think Fire Artemis is a good choice at this point in time. In terms of the other Light Mons though, I mean, you do have Arthur, but I wouldn't bring Arthur in here. There's also Light Nike, so you could bring Light Nike in there instead if you wanted to. There's nothing wrong with that instead of Light Loki, but I would give this composition out. Well, I would give this composition a try and see how well it does for you. In terms of the hidden mon though, I mean, you could put whatever you want there. You could put someone that can shock. You could put someone that does anything you want at this point in time. At level 34, Moan is fine. I mean, whoever's going to be stomping you, you probably can't fight back, so it doesn't really matter too much right here. You also do have Light Yeti, and there's also Light Mona, so you could run more of a light composition instead and have something like this, but I don't really foresee that working out too well. Because honestly though, I do have a light Loki, but I don't really enjoy him that much, to be honest. There could be something wrong with me, but I don't really appreciate him perhaps how I should. But I forgot that Light Hana existed in your squad. So let's go back over here though. So Hana can put up her shield, which isn't as great as Dark Cupid's, but she can still put it up. So she could shield Fire Artemis. She could also help shield your lovely Nightmare as well. And if we had like a wild thing to throw up in here to replace your Light Mona with, that could also work if you wanted to do different types of elements in your defense composition. If you're doing mono element though, you can use the team that I showed before. I discarded all of them and put in your Light Hana. But at this point in time, I do think Light Mona is worth building with her recent update. But that's just for your defense team. Your offensive team obviously changes with time, so there's nothing that I can really tell you about that other than just to try and synergize with what you're working with here, because you have her here. You have her here for stunning. Arthur also has some CC abilities to him with his shock being on his 3-star skill. Mona's here for nuking, and then Water Mona, I'm assuming here is just to get defense down off quickly for everyone else to kind of do some damage. But I wouldn't really use her in this situation as a offensive mon. I think Fire Valk would be a little bit better suited if you're going to be doing manual play for being offensive, because you can at least have control over her crowd control, which is her stun for her 5-star skill, and decide when you want to use it. Like, do I want to stun them now? Do I want to stun them later until the hidden mon comes out, etc.? But that's just the way that I take it. Mona here, she could stay. There's also your Light Arthur, he could stay. But there's Dark Wildfang, man. Obviously she's not built up, but in the future you could build that baby girl up, man. You could run Dark, Light, and Light if you wanted to. Because you have Light Arthur, and who else was there? There's Light Mona, Light Hana. You could run something like this. Obviously, I wouldn't say this specifically, not with Baby Shark here. But you could run something similar to this and even have... where's she at? Kind of something like this, where you have a little bit of crowd control going on at the same time that you have some damage going on. That way Dark Wildfang isn't by herself, and if she does take aggro, hopefully Nightmare could take some aggro as well. Thus, you know, obviously making her survivability a lot higher in that situation. And then the same thing with Arthur, where you have Arthur there for some CC, but if Hana takes some of the heat, he won't die as fast either. So you could do some mixing and matching here, but I mean, you're obviously free to take this advice and do absolutely nothing with it. And it looks like you do have one Water Acer, which I overlooked, but I mean, there's some usage that you could do here. Obviously, getting through all the story stages would be super duper great for farming out any of the rares that you need to fill out your Titan roster with. You are working on some Dragon Gems as well, which is nice if you do decide to further this account and maybe get like a Fire Draka in the future to get that Fire Draka on a Siphon set. Mona could be on a Siphon set, but if she's already on that broken set, Dark Mona that is, and she's at 100% crit rate, it's not necessary. For Golems, obviously not B10 ready, but definitely in the future I could definitely see B10 being done here with your composition, because you could always run something like, where's she at? Dark Wildfang. You could run in here with Wood Gene. I didn't see any sappers. But let's act like Sonic was a sapper. You could run in there with your Water Miho, I would say Water Sea Star at this point in time, and maybe another Water Sea Star, or Water Miho and Water Sea Star. But you have two, not necessarily wave clearers, but you at least have 2 damage dealers, and then also 2 sappers. But let me take Jean out because you do have Dark Mona, and run something like this, where you can make sure that Dark Mona does some decent wave clearing, and then Dark Wildfang, once her gems get up to par, you could also do some damage with her clearing out the waves, and then the 2 sappers. And then having something like this, I think would be perfectly fine for your composition in the future. Right now, we're not talking about this, but in the future, if you were to go with the account, that would at least give you a solid B10 team in my opinion. I don't really see any flaws with this team, because you would have 2 sappers, 2 wave clears, well, a wave clear and a nuker, but with even one dedicated, like one spicy gemmed up Dark Mona, fully enhanced, you got her with her super evolution, books, the whole 9 yards. Wave clearing isn't going to be that much of an issue, especially with a Wild Thing coming up in the rear for any more damage that you need to be doing to the waves, because one good wave clear for B10 is pretty solid nowadays with the additions of trinkets and enhancements. And if you want to go crazy, you could do Super Ascension on her as well, but obviously I would probably save that for your Dark Wild Thing. But that pretty much wraps up what I can give you for advice in terms of this account right here. I mean, it's pretty much in its baby stages. Obviously progressing through the story, doing more golems, getting your mons level 50, then getting them level 60, Evo 2, Evo 3 in the future would be the next biggest steps here, but already it does show some promise in terms of like Titans, depending on what Titan that you want to do. And there's also some grounds for PvP. Like if you pull a 1 or 2 more like staple light and dark mons for PvP, I'm not going to say you're in game PvP, but you're really set for like a mid game. Like I would say that the Astramon that you have here, If you do pull a couple more of these guys, your in terms of hitting Water Titan would be totally complete. Fire Titan's a bust, but you do have access to a free Fire Wukong and pulling Shinobis in the future. And then you have a little bit of ways to go if you're in terms of your water mons for Titans. But overall, I mean, if you pull a couple more good mons, you're pretty much at mid game. You just don't have the gem quality or the monster levels or the monster investment total to get them up to mid game quality. But yeah, really good account, dude. But that's pretty much it for this video, you guys. He's only level 34, so there's not much we can touch on at this point in time, because your main goal is to get a stable Golems B8 team and then head over to B10, figure out things with the story, and just make things a lot more accessible to you in terms of everything else. But the account does have promise. But that's pretty much it, you guys. If you want an account review done, I can do them, but you got to join the Discord and message me on Discord, and we can get together and figure out what you need for your account. And hopefully we can see you on the channel and share your mon box and your potential progression with everyone else in the MSO community. And that's pretty much it, you guys. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and yeah, see ya.